Millionaires are not born. They're made by mindset and habits anyone can master. What secret formula did Napoleon Hill discover after studying 500 of the world's richest people? And why do those same principles still work almost 90 years later? In this video, we will unpack the most powerful lessons from Think and Grow Rich and show you how to apply them to your life before 2026 to achieve wealth, success, and unstoppable confidence. Ever felt like success is always out of reach? Or that you're working hard but not getting the results you deserve? This book was written exactly for people like you. By the end, you'll know the exact mindset shifts and success habits that have transformed ordinary people into extraordinary achievers, and how you can start using them today. If you're new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss any of our latest updates. And don't forget to leave a comment below, letting us know your philosophy on money. Do you believe making money is hard, or is it easy if you have the right information about it? Imagine a man standing at the edge of a field, shovel in hand, staring at the ground. He believes there's gold beneath the soil. But here's the question: how deep is he willing to dig? How many hours? How many days? How many years will he put in before he either strikes gold or gives up? This is the opening spirit of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Written in 1937 during the shadow of the Great Depression, it's not just a book about money. It's a book about the mind. Hill interviewed some of the most successful men of his time: Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and asked one simple question: what makes the difference between those who succeed and those who don't? And the answer that emerged was this: desire. Not hope, not wish, but burning, relentless desire. Hill begins by telling the story of Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes had one goal in life: to become Thomas Edison's business partner. He didn't have money. He didn't have connections. He didn't even have a ticket for the train ride to New Jersey, where Edison lived. But he had one thing: desire. Barnes walked into Edison's office and declared that he wanted to work with Edison, not for him. Imagine the courage. Edison later said that Barnes looked like an ordinary tramp, but in his eyes, Edison saw determination. Barnes didn't get the partnership that day. Instead, he was given a low-level job. But he stayed. He worked. He persisted. Years later, when Edison created his famous dictating machine, Barnes saw his chance. He marketed it so successfully that he became Edison's partner, the very dream he had declared years earlier. This story isn't about luck. It's about desire turned into action. Barnes didn't say, "I hope this happens." He said, "This will happen. Somehow." Hill writes, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's where the psychology comes in. How many of us start with a strong desire, only to let it fade at the first setback? How often do we let temporary defeat convince us the dream wasn't worth it? Think of that man with the shovel. So many people quit digging when they're just 3 feet away from gold. Ask yourself, what dream have you put on the shelf because the path looked too steep, or success seemed too far away? What would happen if you picked up the shovel again and kept digging? Hill's first lesson is clear. Wealth, financial or otherwise, begins with desire so strong that nothing can extinguish it. Not failure, not doubt, not time. But desire alone isn't enough. It must be specific. Vague dreams don't move mountains. Saying, "I want to be rich," is a wish. Saying, "I will earn $100,000 by starting my business in the next 3 years," is a plan. That's why Hill doesn't just tell you to want wealth, He tells you to write it down, to see it, to repeat it, to make your desire so clear that your subconscious can't ignore it. Because once your mind believes, your actions will follow. Think about it. Every skyscraper in New York, every tech startup in Silicon Valley, every small business in a local town began as a desire in someone's mind. Someone saw what wasn't there yet and refused to let go. So here's the takeaway. If you want to grow rich, not just in money, but in life, you must begin with desire that is definite, burning, and unshakable. As Hill puts it, the starting point of all achievement is desire. Keep this constantly in mind. Weak desire brings weak results, just as a small fire makes a small amount of heat. In the next chapter, we'll explore the second step on this journey, the power of belief, faith, and how it transforms your desire into reality. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine planting a seed in the ground. At first, all you see is dirt. Days pass, and still, nothing happens. But beneath the soil, something unseen is happening. Roots are forming. Energy is building. And one day, that seed breaks through the surface, stretching toward the sun. That's what faith is. It's believing in something before you can see it. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill calls faith the eternal elixir. It's the bridge between your burning desire and the reality you want to create. You can want something badly, but unless you truly believe it's possible, your desire dies in the soil. Faith isn't just about religion. It's about confidence, an unshakable certainty that what you imagine can and will become real. And here's the fascinating part. Hill argues that faith is something you can actually build. It's not a gift handed to a lucky few. It's a skill you develop through repetition, thought, and self-suggestion. Take Henry Ford, for example. In the early 1900s, Ford announced that he would build a car affordable to the average American worker. The world laughed. Automobiles were toys for the wealthy, expensive, impractical, and unreliable. But Ford had faith. He didn't just want to build a car. He believed he could. That belief carried him through countless failures, setbacks, and criticisms. And it gave the world the Model T, which revolutionized transportation and industry forever. Now think about your own life. How often have you stopped yourself from pursuing a dream because deep down, you didn't believe you were capable? How many times have you thought, that's just not for people like me? That inner voice isn't truth. It's just a lack of faith. Hill tells us that faith can be created through autosuggestion, feeding your mind with repeated affirmations until it begins to accept them as fact. If you tell yourself every day, I will achieve this, your subconscious begins to work toward it automatically. Your thoughts shape your reality. Consider athletes. Before stepping onto the field, many visualize themselves winning. They see the goal, the basket, the finish line, over and over. By the time the moment comes, their mind has already rehearsed victory so many times that faith carries them forward. But here's the warning. Faith works both ways. If you constantly tell yourself that you're unlucky, that you'll fail, that wealth is impossible for you, your subconscious will accept that too. You will live into the story you've written. Hill writes, faith is the only known antidote for failure. That's powerful. It means the moment you choose to believe in your dream, you've already stepped onto the path of success. Without faith, even the strongest desire fizzles out. With faith, even the impossible begins to look inevitable. Imagine standing in front of a mountain. Desire is the spark that makes you say, I want to climb this. But faith is the belief that your legs, your lungs, and your heart will carry you to the top, even when the path is hidden, even when the storm comes. And here's the truth: the world will test your faith. People will doubt you. Circumstances will discourage you. But if you hold your belief firm, if you water the seed of desire with the faith that it will grow, you will find opportunities that others overlook. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before creating a working light bulb. Reporters asked him if he felt like a failure. Edison replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's faith. A stubborn refusal to accept defeat, fueled by a belief in the unseen. So ask yourself now, what story are you repeating to yourself every day? Is it one of limitation or one of possibility? Because what you repeat becomes what you believe, and what you believe shapes your future. Faith is the force that turns invisible desire into visible success. It's the quiet conviction that what you want is already on its way to you, as long as you refuse to quit. In the next chapter, Hill introduces a practical tool to strengthen that faith: autosuggestion. The power of speaking to yourself, shaping your thoughts, and commanding your subconscious mind to work for you. Imagine standing in front of a mirror every morning, looking into your own eyes, and declaring with confidence, "I will achieve my goal." At first, it may feel awkward, even silly, but repeat it enough, and something remarkable happens. Your subconscious begins to believe it. Napoleon Hill calls this process autosuggestion, the practice of feeding your mind with repeated thoughts, affirmations, and visualizations until they sink deep enough to guide your behavior automatically. Here's the science behind it. Your subconscious mind doesn't judge. It doesn't decide what's true or false. It simply accepts what you feed it. If you fill it with doubt, fear, and negativity, it will act on that. But if you consistently fill it with confidence, vision, and purpose, it will start to shape your actions to match. Think about advertising. Why do companies spend millions of dollars showing you the same product over and over? Because repetition works. The more you see it, the more familiar it feels, and the more likely you are to act on it. Autosuggestion is advertising, except the product is yourself. Hill tells us that every great achievement begins with a clear, definite desire. But desire alone is not enough. You must impress that desire onto your subconscious through daily, deliberate repetition. That's where autosuggestion comes in. Let's take an example. Suppose your goal is to earn $100,000 within the next 3 years by building your own business. Autosuggestion means writing down that goal, saying it aloud every morning and night, visualizing the money, the clients, the office, seeing it so vividly that your subconscious starts treating it as inevitable. When challenges appear, instead of asking, "Can I do this?" your subconscious whispers, "Of course, this is who you are." Consider the story of Muhammad Ali. Long before he became the heavyweight champion of the world, Ali declared to anyone who would listen, "I am the greatest." People laughed. They thought it was arrogance. But Ali wasn't just boasting. He was programming his subconscious mind. He was training himself to believe in the victory before it happened. And that belief shaped his actions, his confidence, and ultimately, his success. Now, here's the warning. Autosuggestion works both ways. If you tell yourself every day that you're unlucky, that you're not smart enough, that success is for other people, your subconscious will accept that story, and then you'll live it out. That's why Hill urges us to guard our thoughts like treasure. Because whatever dominates your mind eventually dominates your life. Hill gives us a practical exercise. Write down a clear statement of your desire. How much money do you want? By what date? What will you give in return for it? Your time, your skills, your creativity? Then repeat this statement aloud, morning and night, with conviction, until your mind believes it. Imagine yourself reading that statement with passion. Picture the life you want in detail: the house, the freedom, the security. The clearer the image, the stronger the belief. And the stronger the belief, the more your subconscious works to make it real. Modern science backs this up. Neuroscience shows that visualization and affirmation can rewire neural pathways in the brain. Olympic athletes, CEOs, and entrepreneurs use visualization techniques daily, not because it's magic, but because the mind leads the body. What you see in your mind becomes a blueprint for what you do in reality. So ask yourself, what messages are you feeding your subconscious right now? Are they messages of fear or of faith, of lack or of abundance? Because whether you realize it or not, your inner dialogue is shaping your outer destiny. Autosuggestion is like planting seeds in the soil of your mind. You decide which seeds go in. Plant thoughts of wealth, confidence, and purpose, and that's what will grow. Plant doubts and fears, and those will sprout instead. As Hill reminds us, you are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be. In the next chapter, we'll explore another vital step: the power of specialized knowledge. Because desire, faith, and repetition are powerful, but without knowledge, applied knowledge, your dream remains just a dream. Picture a library filled with thousands of books, shelves upon shelves of information: history, science, economics, philosophy. Now imagine walking in, picking up a random book, flipping through a few pages, and walking out. Have you gained knowledge? Perhaps. But is it useful? Probably not. Napoleon Hill makes a bold statement: knowledge alone is not power. He says, knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when, and if, it is organized into definite plans of action. This is where many people get stuck. They think that just knowing something guarantees success. But look around. The world is full of people with advanced degrees, endless credentials, and overflowing resumes. Yet many struggle financially. Why? Because what matters is not general knowledge, but specialized knowledge. Knowledge applied with purpose. Let's look at an example. Henry Ford, the man who revolutionized the automobile industry, was once ridiculed in a courtroom. A lawyer mocked him for not being formally educated, asking him basic questions about history and science. Ford calmly replied, "Why should I clutter my mind with facts I can summon at the push of a button?" He pointed to the row of assistants outside his office, the experts he hired to provide the specialized knowledge he needed. Ford didn't need to know everything. He only needed to know how to organize specialized knowledge and apply it toward his vision. Think about it. Knowledge sitting in a book is like fuel sitting in a tank. It does nothing until it's ignited and directed. Specialized knowledge is the spark that turns potential into power. Hill argues that one of the most practical ways to gain specialized knowledge is by creating what he calls a mastermind group, a collection of people with diverse expertise, united toward a common goal. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to know how to bring smart people together. Consider Steve Jobs. He wasn't the world's greatest engineer. He didn't personally design the iPhone's circuitry or code its operating system. But he had a vision, and he surrounded himself with specialists who turned that vision into reality. His genius was not in knowing everything, but in organizing and applying the knowledge of others. Now ask yourself, what specialized knowledge do you have or need to achieve your dream? Do you need marketing skills, financial expertise, technical know-how? If you don't have it, can you learn it? Or can you find someone who already has it? Hill points out that specialized knowledge can be gained in many ways: through personal study, through experience, through schools, through mentors, or through partnerships. The key is not where you get it, but how you use it. Here's the danger. People often mistake information for progress. They read books, attend seminars, listen to podcasts, but never apply what they learn. Knowledge without action is like a seed that's never planted. It holds potential, but no fruit. Think of a doctor. Years of general education mean little until those years are funneled into specialized medical knowledge and then applied in practice to heal patients. Think of a lawyer, a pilot, an entrepreneur. Each succeeds not because of broad generalities, but because of deep, focused expertise applied toward a goal. In your own life, reflect for a moment. Are you collecting knowledge, or are you applying it? Are you a library of unused information, or are you building a structure with bricks of specialized skill? Hill reminds us, an educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has developed the faculties of his mind so that he may acquire anything he wants, or its equivalent, without violating the rights of others. The truth is, in today's world, specialized knowledge has more opportunities than ever. With technology, online learning, and global networks, you can access expertise in ways Napoleon Hill could only dream of. But the principle remains timeless. Knowledge becomes power only when applied toward a definite purpose. So here's your challenge. Decide what specialized knowledge your dream requires. Then commit to acquiring it, or finding it through others, and organizing it into action. In the next chapter, Hill introduces one of the most overlooked but essential steps to success: imagination. Because knowledge gives you the tools, but imagination decides how you use them. Close your eyes and picture this. It's the early 1900s, and two brothers in Dayton, Ohio, are sketching designs in a dusty bicycle shop. They aren't wealthy. They don't have prestigious degrees, but they have something far more powerful: an imagination that dares to believe humans can fly. Those brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, turned their imagination into the world's first airplane, forever changing history. Napoleon Hill calls imagination the workshop of the mind. It's the place where desire takes shape, where raw ideas become plans, and where dreams first step into reality. Hill divides imagination into two categories. The first is synthetic imagination, taking old ideas and rearranging them into new combinations. Think of it like remixing a song. Most inventions are born this way. The automobile, for example, wasn't a completely new concept. It was the horse-drawn carriage combined with a motor. Synthetic imagination is powerful because it builds on what already exists. The second is creative imagination, where ideas seem to come from nowhere. It's the spark of genius, the sudden flash of insight that feels almost otherworldly. Hill describes it as the faculty through which hunches and inspirations arrive. Think of Einstein, who imagined riding on a beam of light long before he could explain it mathematically. That single act of creative imagination led to the theory of relativity. But here's the truth. Imagination without action is fantasy. The difference between a daydreamer and a visionary is what they do with their ideas. Edison imagined the light bulb, but he also tested thousands of filaments until one worked. The Wright brothers imagined flight, but they also built, tested, failed, and tried again. Imagination provides the blueprint, but persistence builds the structure. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, how often do you use your imagination in your daily life? Not just to escape into fantasy, but to solve problems, to create opportunities, to envision your future? Too often, adults lock imagination away, treating it as childish. But the most successful people, the inventors, the entrepreneurs, the artists, never stop using it. Hill warns us against dismissing ideas, even wild ones. He reminds us that imagination is the starting point for all fortunes. Every skyscraper, every smartphone, every great company was once just an idea in someone's mind. Wealth begins with a thought, and imagination is the tool that shapes it. Consider Walt Disney. In the 1920s, he was just an animator with a dream. People laughed at his idea of a theme park where families could step into a magical world. Too expensive, too unrealistic, they said. But Disney's imagination saw what others couldn't. Today, Disney World is one of the most visited places on Earth, a testament to the power of imagination made real. Hill tells us that imagination works best when fueled by desire and faith. If you have a burning desire for success and faith that it's possible, your imagination begins to generate ideas and opportunities that align with your goal. It's like tuning a radio. Your mind starts picking up signals that were always there but unnoticed before. And here's the beautiful part. Imagination can be trained. Just like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Try brainstorming new ways to solve everyday problems. Visualize your future vividly. Combine ideas from different fields. Allow yourself to think without limits, even if people call you unrealistic. Remember this: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That timeless phrase is built on the foundation of imagination. So as you reflect on your own goals, ask yourself, what would my dream life look like if nothing were impossible? Don't limit your imagination to what you think is realistic. The Wright brothers weren't realistic. Walt Disney wasn't realistic. Edison wasn't realistic. They were visionaries, and so can you be. In the next chapter, Hill moves from imagination to action. He introduces the importance of organized planning, because a dream without a plan remains just a dream. And it's through planning that imagination becomes a roadmap to riches. Picture this: you're standing at the base of a mountain. At the top is your dream: financial independence, success, fulfillment. You can see it clearly. But how do you get there? Do you wander aimlessly, hoping to stumble onto the right path? Or do you carefully chart a route, step by step, until you know exactly where to place your foot next? Napoleon Hill tells us that dreams without plans are just wishes. Organized planning is the bridge between imagination and achievement. It's where desire becomes concrete action. Think of Thomas Edison. He didn't just imagine the light bulb and wait for it to happen. He created a plan, tested thousands of materials, and adjusted each time something failed. Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That persistence was backed by organized planning, a clear, methodical approach that kept him moving forward. Hill makes it clear: success rarely happens by accident. Behind every fortune, there is a plan. And behind every plan, there is a team. He emphasizes the importance of building a mastermind group, a network of people whose knowledge, skills, and perspectives complement your own. One person's imagination is powerful, but when combined with the specialized knowledge of others, it becomes unstoppable. Take Henry Ford once again. He didn't build an automobile empire by himself. He surrounded himself with engineers, managers, financiers, people who brought their own expertise to the table. His genius was in orchestrating those talents into a single, unified plan. So how do you apply organized planning in your own life? Hill suggests first writing down a clear statement of your goal, along with a timeline and the specific steps you'll take. Then, form alliances with people who can help you achieve it. Don't be afraid to seek advice or delegate tasks. Remember, no one climbs a mountain entirely alone. Here's where many people stumble. They mistake a plan's failure for personal failure. But Hill warns us, most plans don't work perfectly the first time. And that's not a reason to quit. It's a reason to adjust. He writes, temporary defeat should mean only one thing: the certain knowledge that there is something wrong with your plan. Think about entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. They launch startups, face setbacks, pivot, try again, and sometimes fail repeatedly before striking success. Each failure isn't the end, it's feedback. Organized planning allows them to refine their strategies until they find what works. Hill also points out the importance of decision-making and planning. Successful people make decisions quickly and firmly, then adjust as needed. Indecision kills more dreams than failure ever will. When you hesitate, opportunities slip away. When you decide, you move forward, even if imperfectly. Let's ground this in a story. Imagine Sarah, an aspiring entrepreneur in Chicago. She dreams of starting a bakery. Without a plan, her dream remains a fantasy. But with organized planning, she writes a business plan, identifies her target market, secures funding, builds a team, and launches her shop. She hits obstacles along the way: delayed permits, equipment breakdowns, tough competition. But instead of giving up, she revises her plan, adjusts her marketing, and slowly builds a loyal customer base. 5 years later, her bakery is thriving. That's organized planning at work. Another powerful lesson in this chapter is humility. Hill warns against assuming you can do it all alone. Pride is the downfall of many dreamers. True leaders seek help, listen to feedback, and know when to rely on the expertise of others. So as you reflect, ask yourself, do I have a definite plan for achieving my desire? Have I written it down? Have I gathered a team, or at least mentors, who can guide me? And most importantly, am I willing to revise my plan as I go? Remember this: a goal without a plan is just a hope. A plan without action is just paper. But a plan acted upon, persistently and intelligently, becomes destiny. In the next chapter, Hill explores an invisible yet powerful force: decision. Because no matter how strong your desire or how detailed your plan, nothing happens until you decide to act. Think back to a moment in your life when you were faced with a choice. Maybe it was whether to take a job offer, to start a business, to invest in an opportunity, or to walk away from something safe but unfulfilling. How long did it take you to decide? Hours? Days? Weeks? Or did you put it off until the decision was made for you? Napoleon Hill insists that the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people often comes down to one thing: the ability to make decisions quickly and stick with them. He calls procrastination the silent killer of ambition. He studied the lives of over 500 of the most successful people in his time. Leaders like Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, and Thomas Edison. What did they all have in common? They made decisions firmly and rarely changed them without good reason. In contrast, those who failed were usually indecisive, swayed by the opinions of others, and quick to abandon their choices when challenged. Think of Henry Ford again. When he decided to build the Model T, critics laughed. Competitors doubted him. Even his own advisors questioned his stubbornness. But Ford stuck to his decision with iron will. He believed in his vision of an affordable car for the masses, and history proved him right. Why does decision matter so much? Because every moment of hesitation allows fear to creep in. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. Indecision feeds those fears, while decisive action starves them. Now, that doesn't mean rushing blindly. It means gathering the information you need, trusting your instincts, and then committing. Hill warns us that opinions are cheap, and most people are too quick to let the opinions of others shape their lives. He says, keep your eyes and ears wide open and your mouth closed if you wish to acquire the habit of prompt decision. Imagine two friends, Alex and David. Alex dreams of starting an online business. He spends months researching, comparing platforms, talking to mentors, second-guessing himself. Meanwhile, David decides quickly, sets up his store, and learns through trial and error. A year later, David's business is profitable. Alex is still thinking about starting. That's the difference between decision and procrastination. Here's the truth: decisions shape destiny. Every successful entrepreneur, investor, or leader you admire didn't wait for perfect conditions. They acted. Warren Buffett decided to buy his first stock at age 11. Oprah Winfrey decided to leave behind safe but limiting opportunities to pursue television. Elon Musk decided to put his fortune into SpaceX when others said it was madness. Each bold step was a decision that changed the course of their lives. But decision doesn't only apply to big choices. It's a daily practice. Will you wake up early and work on your goal? Will you save instead of spend? Will you speak up in a meeting or stay silent? These small decisions accumulate into habits, and habits define your future. Hill makes another crucial point. The world admires people who know what they want and are not afraid to say no. People who waffle, who bend with every wind of opinion, rarely lead. Leaders decide. Followers wait. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, where in your life have you been procrastinating? What decision are you delaying, telling yourself you'll make someday? Someday is not on the calendar. If you want to grow rich, in wealth, in purpose, in fulfillment, you must decide today. And remember, indecision is often worse than the wrong decision. You can always adjust your course once you're moving, but you can't steer a ship that never leaves the harbor. As Hill puts it, those who reach decisions promptly and definitely know what they want and generally get it. In the next chapter, Hill takes us even deeper into the secret ingredient of greatness: persistence. Because once you've decided, the true test is whether you can stick to that decision when obstacles appear. Close your eyes and imagine a miner digging deep into the earth. Day after day, he swings his pickaxe, chipping away at the hard rock. He grows weary. The progress feels slow. After months of effort, he finally gives up, only to discover later that he quit just 3 feet away from a rich vein of gold. This is the picture Napoleon Hill paints when he talks about persistence. He calls it the iron quality of character, the difference between those who merely wish for riches and those who achieve them. Desire starts the fire. Faith fuels it, but persistence keeps it burning, even when the winds of doubt and failure threaten to snuff it out. Look at the lives of history's most successful people, and you'll see persistence at their core. Thomas Edison tested thousands of filaments before the light bulb worked. Colonel Harlan Sanders, at age 65, pitched his fried chicken recipe to over 1,000 restaurants before anyone said yes. Oprah Winfrey faced rejection after rejection before becoming one of the most influential voices in the world. What did they all share? Persistence. Hill warns us that most people give up too soon. The majority quit at the first sign of difficulty, not realizing that success often lies just beyond the point of greatest resistance. He writes, "Those who cultivate the habit of persistence seem to enjoy insurance against failure." Persistence isn't just about stubbornness. It's about a disciplined commitment to your plan and your purpose. It means revising when necessary, but never abandoning your ultimate goal. It's saying, "I will find a way," or make one. Think of persistence as a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. At first, it's hard to keep pushing when progress is slow. But over time, persistence turns into habit, and habit turns into character. Soon, you no longer ask, "Should I keep going?" You simply keep going. Hill also explains that persistence is closely linked to willpower and desire. If your desire is weak, your persistence will crumble at the first obstacle. But if your desire burns fiercely, if your why is strong enough, nothing can stop you. Consider J.K. Rowling. She was rejected by a dozen publishers before someone finally agreed to print her first Harry Potter book. Imagine if she had given up after the first rejection, or the fifth, or the 10th. The world might never have known her stories. Her persistence turned failure into triumph. Now, let's make this personal. Where in your life have you given up too soon? Where have you mistaken temporary defeat for permanent failure? Imagine how different the outcome might have been if you had persisted just a little longer. Persistence also requires guarding against negativity. Hill warns that critics, doubters, and even friends or family may discourage you. They may say your dream is unrealistic or impossible. Persistence means holding fast to your vision, even when others don't believe. There's a reason Hill places persistence after decision in his philosophy. Once you've decided, persistence is the test of whether you truly mean it. Anyone can make a choice in a moment of inspiration. Few can hold to it in the face of rejection, failure, or ridicule. But those few, those who persist, are the ones who succeed. Remember the story of the miner who gave up 3 feet from gold? Don't let that be your story. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself, success may be closer than you think. Hill says it plainly. There is no substitute for persistence. It cannot be supplanted by any other quality. Remember this, and it will keep you in the race when you feel like giving up. So, ask yourself, will I be the one who quits too soon? Or will I be the one who digs until the gold is found? In the next chapter, Hill takes us into one of his most fascinating ideas, the mastermind, the secret alliance that multiplies the power of persistence and decision through the strength of collective knowledge and energy. Imagine 2 tuning forks. Strike one, and the other begins to vibrate in harmony, even without being touched. This is the essence of the mastermind. When 2 or more minds come together in harmony, they create an energy greater than the sum of their individual parts. Napoleon Hill calls this invisible but powerful force the third mind, and he believed it was at the root of nearly every great fortune. Think about the United States in its early days. The founding fathers, Washington, Jefferson, Franklin, Adams, didn't act alone. They debated, collaborated, and pooled their knowledge, creating ideas far beyond what any one of them might have developed in isolation. That collective genius gave birth to a nation. Hill insists that success is rarely the product of a single, solitary genius. Behind every great leader, inventor, or entrepreneur is a network of minds working together. Henry Ford had his team of engineers and financiers. Andrew Carnegie built his steel empire with the help of managers and specialists. Even Thomas Edison had a group of scientists who supported his tireless experiments. The mastermind isn't just about knowledge sharing, it's about harmony. A group full of conflict, jealousy, or mistrust cannot create power. But when individuals align their energies toward a common goal, something extraordinary happens. Hill describes this as an almost spiritual connection, a higher form of intelligence that emerges when people think in unity. Consider a modern example: Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Alone, Jobs had vision, but not the technical mastery. Wozniak had engineering brilliance, but lacked the bold entrepreneurial drive. Together, in harmony, they created Apple, a company that revolutionized technology and culture. That's the mastermind in action. Hill challenges us to be intentional about who we surround ourselves with. He warns, if you associate with small thinkers, complainers, or doubters, their influence will drag you down. But if you align yourself with ambitious, positive, and creative individuals, their energy will elevate yours. So ask yourself, who are the people in your circle? Do they fuel your fire or drain your energy? Are they helping you grow or keeping you small? Success isn't just about what you know, but also about who you join forces with. Hill goes further, suggesting that the mastermind isn't limited to people you physically meet with. It's also the knowledge you draw from books, mentors, or even biographies of great individuals. By immersing yourself in the thoughts of great minds, you expand your own. There's also a practical side. No one person can know everything. If you want to build a business, you'll need legal advice, financial guidance, marketing expertise, and technical know-how. Trying to master all of these alone is impossible, but bringing together a group where each person contributes their strength creates a collective intelligence that far surpasses any single individual. Here's a story to illustrate. Andrew Carnegie, who rose from a poor immigrant to one of the richest men in history, credited much of his wealth not to his own genius, but to his ability to assemble a mastermind group of advisors and managers. He famously said, "I owe my fortune to the power of my mastermind." Carnegie understood that wealth is not built by lone wolves, but by teams aligned in vision and spirit. But here's the catch: you must be selective. A true mastermind group requires mutual respect, trust, and shared purpose. Invite the wrong people in, those with hidden agendas or negativity, and the harmony collapses. It's not about surrounding yourself with cheerleaders. It's about surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, sharpen you, and believe in the vision as much as you do. Think of it this way: if persistence is the fuel, the mastermind is the engine that multiplies the power of that fuel. Alone, you may move forward slowly. Together, with the right alliance, you accelerate at lightning speed. So, as you reflect, ask, who is in my mastermind? Who should I invite into my circle? Who should I let go of? Remember, your future wealth, success, and happiness may very well depend on the people you choose to think with. In the next chapter, Hill takes us into a fascinating concept, one that links imagination, planning, and persistence together: the mystery of the subconscious mind and how it becomes the gateway to infinite intelligence. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every thought you plant, positive or negative, is a seed. The subconscious mind is the soil. It doesn't judge. It doesn't question. It simply takes what you plant, nourishes it, and eventually brings it to life in your actions and results. This, Napoleon Hill explains, is the power of the subconscious. Hill calls the subconscious mind the connecting link between your conscious thoughts, your desires, and what he terms infinite intelligence, the universal source of ideas and inspiration. In simpler terms, what you repeatedly feed your mind, your subconscious eventually accepts as truth and then works relentlessly to make it reality. Think of a world-class athlete. Before stepping onto the field, they often visualize victory. A sprinter imagines crossing the finish line first. A basketball player pictures the ball swishing through the hoop. By doing this over and over, they program their subconscious mind. And when the moment comes, their body follows what their mind has already rehearsed. Hill insists that you are constantly programming your subconscious, whether intentionally or not. If you dwell on fear, scarcity, and doubt, your subconscious will create circumstances that reinforce those beliefs. But if you deliberately feed it thoughts of abundance, success, and possibility, it will open doors you never imagined. This is why Hill places so much emphasis on affirmations and autosuggestion. He believed that repeating statements of desire, faith, and purpose impresses them deeply into the subconscious, turning wishes into burning convictions. And once the subconscious accepts an idea as real, it mobilizes your entire being. Your imagination, your persistence, your decision-making to make it so. Consider this real-world example. Jim Carrey, long before he was famous, wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. Post-dated it 10 years in the future and kept it in his wallet. He visualized, affirmed, and believed in that outcome. Within a decade, he was offered exactly $10 million for his role in Dumb and Dumber. His subconscious mind had been trained to expect success, and it aligned his actions accordingly. Hill emphasizes, though, that the subconscious cannot thrive on vague wishes. It requires clear, definite thoughts. If you say, "I want to be rich someday," that's too fuzzy. But if you declare, "I will earn $100,000 by the end of next year by building a successful consulting business," that is precise. That clarity tells your subconscious what to focus on, what to attract, and what to act upon. There's also a warning here. The subconscious doesn't care whether your thoughts serve you or sabotage you. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'll never succeed," or "I don't deserve wealth," your subconscious takes it as fact and works to confirm it. Hill puts it bluntly: guard your thoughts, for they become your reality. Let's pause here. What are you feeding your subconscious every day? Do you consume news filled with fear? Do you repeat stories of limitation? Or are you planting seeds of growth, resilience, and vision? Because whatever you plant, you will harvest. Hill goes even further. He suggests that the subconscious mind acts as a bridge to infinite intelligence, a universal storehouse of ideas and inspiration. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with the solution to a problem? Or had a gut feeling that turned out to be right? That's your subconscious, tapping into a deeper well of knowledge. Think of Thomas Edison again. Many of his inventions came after long periods of focused thought. followed by sudden flashes of insight. Ideas that seem to come from nowhere. That nowhere, Hill argues, is infinite intelligence, accessed through the subconscious mind. The key, then, is training your subconscious to work for you, not against you. You do this by repeating affirmations and desires daily, visualizing the success you want as if it's already real, guarding against negative influences, surrounding yourself with mastermind groups that reinforce your vision. Over time, this steady feeding of purpose and belief transforms your subconscious into an unstoppable ally. Remember, the subconscious mind is always awake. While you sleep, it processes. While you daydream, it listens. While you hesitate, it works in the background. The question is, what instructions are you giving it? Hill's conclusion is simple but profound. If you want riches, of money, of spirit, of achievement, you must first plant those riches in the soil of your subconscious. Only then will they blossom into reality. And that brings us to the end of Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill has shown us the timeless principles of desire, faith, persistence, imagination, and the subconscious mind. These are the building blocks of wealth, success, and fulfillment. But let me ask you something. What happens when you achieve that wealth? What happens when the money is in your hands? Will you know how to handle it? Will it make you happier? Or will it create new challenges? To understand the complete psychology of money and learn how to earn, keep, and grow it, click on the video popping onto the screen.